So, yesterday we spoke about Shmaya and Avtalion. Today, what I would like to do is speak about them a little bit more. And we have some really interesting stuff to talk about from them. So, first of all, Shmaya and Avtalion, I made a little bit of a mistake yesterday when I told you that they were descendants of Nebuchadnezzar. They were actually descendants of King Sancheiriv, if I'm not mistaken. But first, let's talk about it for a minute. The Gemara tells us that one of the reasons that Hashem made the Jewish people go to Galut, go all over the world, and be spread out all over the world, is so that the non-Jewish people that wanted to join the Jewish people could, so that they could see what the Torah is like, and they could join the Jewish people and become a part of the Jewish people, which is a fascinating thing. But this is what the Gemara tells us, because there were many great people that did come and join the Jewish people. Now, a really, really interesting idea, and one of the people that we're going to talk about right now, is Sancheiriv's descendant. Now, who was Sancheiriv? You need to know who Sancheiriv was. During the times before the destruction of the first Beit HaMikdash, there was two kingdoms: the kingdom of Yisrael and the kingdom of Yehuda. And the kingdom of Yisrael were 10 of the tribes of the Jewish people: Reuven, Shimon, Shimon, not Levi and not Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Yosef, but not Binyamin. Why not? Binyamin was with Yehuda. Levi and a lot of Levim were with Yehuda, and they were not technically a tribe. But the rest of the Jewish people were with these 10 tribes. And that's a story for another time, why they were not together, why they split together. But unfortunately, in the middle of the second Beit HaMikdash, first Beit HaMikdash, even before it was destroyed, there came a very, very, very powerful kingdom. It was called the Assyrian Kingdom, or Empire. It was actually one of the first empires to ever be. And the Assyrian Empire had a king. His name was Sancheiriv. A very, very cool name. And Sancheiriv came, and what did he do? He attacked the land of Israel, the land of Eretz Yisrael. He broke down the cities of the Jewish people from the 10 tribes. Even some of Yehuda he destroyed as well. And he took the 10 tribes, he conquered them, he won them in battle, and he spread them all over the world. All over the place. Now in those, right, and again, they were spread out to all over the world. Whenever you hear about the 10 lost tribes, it was this guy, Sancheiriv, that actually did it. He was an Assyrian king. And why did he spread them out? He said, if the Jewish people are spread out all over the world, they're not going to rebel. Why would they rebel? They're not in their hometown. If they're in Eretz Yisrael, they're going to fight back. But if I take them out of Eretz Yisrael, they're not going to fight back. Now, who were his descendants? So the Gemara tells us that several years later, many centuries later, during the Second Temple era, meaning during the time of the Second Beit HaMikdash, some of the great-grandchildren of Sancheiriv joined the Jewish people. Who were they? Shmaya and Avtalion. And we actually don't know a lot about their what happened in their life earlier on. We don't know if they were princes, we don't know if they were kings, we don't know really much about them in general. At least from the beginning of their life, before they became great Torah scholars. But after they became Torah scholars, we do know a little bit about them. We know some things about them. Shmaya and Avtalion, number one, the Jewish people loved them. They loved them like crazy, as we're about to see in the next story. Somebody wrote about Sancheiriv. It was written about Sancheiriv at that time. It was actually written by one of the people that knew them. The two great leaders of our generation, Shmaya and Avtalion, who are as great scholars and great explainers of the Torah. In other words, they were loved by the Jewish people like crazy. And one of the crazy stories goes like this. During Yom Kippur, there's a minhag where the Jewish people, after Yom Kippur is over, they crowd and they give brachot and wishes, and they speak to the Kohen Gadol, whoever the high priest is. Shmaya and Avtalion were of course not high priests because they were Gerim. Gerim cannot become Kohanim, but they themselves were Torah scholars. And it says on the night of Yom Kippur, or the night after Yom Kippur, when Yom Kippur was over, the Jewish people normally escort and take the Kohen Gadol to his house as a way to show him honor. That year instead, They brought Shmaya and Avtalion home. They did not bring him home. And we're going to talk about the fact that the Kohen Gadols at that time were actually not always good people. We have to figure out why that is, but we'll talk about that later at another homework. But Shmaya and Avtalion were so loved that the Jewish people says, we don't want to go to the Kohen Gadol. We're going to go and instead escort Shmaya and Avtalion home. The high priest, meaning the Kohen Gadol, was very upset. He said, what? People should be taking me home, not the other way around. They shouldn't be taking Shmaya and Avtalion home. And they were he was very, very upset. And the Kohen Gadol said something to make fun of Shmaya and Avtalion. He said, let the descendants of foreigners go in peace. That means let the descendants that are Gerim, because they joined the Jewish people, let them go in peace. And this was like a way of trying to insult them, like, oh, you're not really Jewish originally, you became Jewish. And Shmaya and Avtalion, what did they say back? They replied back to him, and they said back to the Kohen Gadol, let the descendants of foreigners go in peace, who perform the acts of Aaron, and let the descendants of Aaron, referring to the Kohen Gadol, go in peace, who does not act in the way of Aaron. In other words, it doesn't matter who your grandfather is, or who your great-grandfather is, or who you think you might be. You could make yourself whoever you want to be. You could make yourself a great person, but you need to put in the effort. Your grandfather's not going to do it for you, and your father's not going to do it for you. You yourself need to do it, boys. That's the lesson we learned from Shmaya and Avtalion. Again, they're really amazing people. They're also the teachers of Hillel. We'll talk a little bit about Hillel for a moment. Hillel was an incredible person, and he was a descendant of David Melch. Hillel risked his life, and we're going to learn that story maybe another time. But Hillel risked his life just to go listen to the teachings of Shmaya and Avtalion. And again, the Jewish people very much loved him. They loved him like crazy. Shmaya and Avtalion, by the way, were also brothers, you should know. I forgot to mention that earlier. So you got to learn about Shmaya and Avtalion. They lived during the times of the second Beit HaMikdash. And with that, everybody have a wonderful night.